Hey there, lovely quilters. I'm Kristen with IC Stars Quilting. Welcome back. If we haven't met yet, I share tips, tricks, and tutorials for modern quilters, and today is gonna be a good video. This is the video that I wish I had seen when I first started quilting. I'm gonna share with you my top 10 pieces of advice for new-ish quilters. Now, I say ish because we're never really done learning, are we? We're not. So let's dive in. Number 10 is to start with simple projects and never stop with simple projects. When you're first starting out, choose beginner-friendly patterns and projects. You want to choose patterns that are going to build your confidence, okay? I call them quick finishes, but you're going to want to choose patterns that build that confidence up so that you are feeling better and better about what you do, okay? It helps you build those skills a little bit at a time, and it does not overwhelm you. Simple patchwork quilts, placemats, baby quilts are a really great place to start too, okay? It kind of has a defined timeline. If you have never ever made a quilt before and you jump in on a king size quilt, you are going to hit way more bumps in the path than you really need to. And when I said don't ever stop with simple projects, because as you get to be a more advanced quilter, you're going to enjoy those little, like what I call palette cleansers between larger projects, okay? I still get really excited and love a quick finish quilt. Number 9 is to invest in quality tools. It seems like there is a ton of things to buy, and you can be tempted to buy the cheapest things and think that you will upgrade them later. I have found over time that that is not always the best way to go, okay? Go ahead and invest in your essential tools that are good quality, because it really does make a difference. Those essential tools include a rotary cutter, a cutting mat, a quality sewing machine, and rulers. You don't have to spend a fortune. You can often find these on sale for really good deals at your local quilt shops, at the big box shops, on Amazon, and the like. And keep an eye out on your Facebook marketplace in your local area to see if you can find somebody who's downsizing and is willing to part with some things. The last video that I published was a trip that I took to my local Walmart. I realized that not everybody's Walmart looks like mine, but you can get an idea from that video of what is available, kind of what the prices are. I also shared some tools that are not worth it in that video when you're first starting out. And then you can check out the Walmart website and see if it is available to ship to you, or you can research other online shops too. Rotary blades are one thing that I used to cheap out on all the time. Okay, I would go through them so fast. They always felt like they would get a nick, or they would dull, or they weren't cutting fast enough for me, and they weren't cutting all the way through the fabric. I'm a long armor. I cut a lot of fabric. I cut a lot of layers of fabric. I would just go through them. And so I bought the cheapest ones that I could find. I even purchased a rotary blade sharpening kit, which was like this motorized device that would go and sharpen the blades of your rotary. And side note, I did not feel that it was actually worth the time. The Fabric Hut is a company that's kind of new on my radar, and they sent me a 10-pack of their titanium coated rotary blades, no strings attached. Y'all, I'm in awe of the difference that it made using their blades versus the ones that I was buying previously before. And I had done my research on those blades, okay? It makes such a difference just in the quality between what I used to use and how many I used to go through and what I use now, their blades, and how amazing they are. These blades are lasting so much longer than my other blades. They're stronger. They're not getting those little nicks in them, and they are just amazing. A 10-pack on their website goes for $75, and they are worth every single cent. They have given me a link to offer my subscribers to my YouTube channel 50% off their 10-pack. So you can get it for $37.50 for a premium 10-pack titanium coated rotary blade kit. That's $3.75 for each blade. I use these blades every single day. It's incredible. So thank you so much to the Fabric Hut for offering me that coupon that I can pass on to my viewers. Make sure you check the link in the description box down below to get that special coupon. That's the only way that you will be able to get that deal on their website. They have tons of other things on their website, by the way, too, but that's a different video. We're going to get back to the reason that I started this video and more things that you need to know as a new-ish quilter. Number 8 is to learn to measure and cut accurately. This is a big one, okay? This is a big one. Precision is key in quilting, and this kind of ties back to like having the right tools as well. So these kind of go together, but I want to put this one separate because like if you have a wonky ruler, it's obviously not going to cut a straight line. Same if you have like a wonky rotary cutter or something like that, okay? Precision is key in quilting. You gotta have your wits about you, okay? If you have ever cut about 100 4-inch squares only to realize they should have been 4.5 inches and now no longer match up with all of the other pieces that you've cut? Well, yeah, the level of spice and attitude that comes with a moment like that, that disappointment belongs on a whole different planet of emotional distress. Keep your wits about you. Work on absolute precision when it comes to cutting and measuring. Number 7 is to practice your 1/4 inch seams. Consistent seam allowance is crucial when it comes to quilt assembly. There are different add-ons and feet that you can purchase for your sewing machine, but you really don't have to make it that complicated. This is another tool that I've seen on Amazon. It's actually a magnet that is very strong and kind of like sticks to the bottom of your machine so that you can have a little guideline. If you just want to take a piece of painter's tape and mark on your machine, you want something that has low tack to it, okay? So if you want to be super cute, you can pick out some washi tape and use that. I used that for a really long time too when I was starting, and I just needed to see like that 1/4 inch mark on my machine constantly so that I can practice that. Accurate quilting is in the details, my friends. It's in the details. It's not those big, giant, glaringly obvious mistakes in your quilt that will eat at you when it comes to wanting to improve your skills, okay? It's going to be those teeny, tiny little cross section of your quilt that should meet up nicely, but just doesn't. And seam allowance and cutting accuracy are going to be the first suspect when it comes to those corners that don't match up. Number 6 is one that should make you feel a little bit better, okay? This one is do not be afraid of making mistakes, okay? It is much better to go in on a project feeling slightly out of your comfort zone, knowing you're going to make mistakes and being okay with making mistakes, than it is to go in and feel like you are just a complete failure for doing something not right the first time. Mistakes are part of the learning process, and every single quilter makes them. You'll find a lot of the videos that I share are on ways of how not to do things, okay? Because I find that personally, I can learn a whole lot more from somebody who tells me all the ways how not to do something than I can learn from somebody who gives me a lecture on the one way that did work, okay? I believe that we are all creatives. We are all meant to challenge the way that things are done. And sometimes a mistake actually turns into something beautiful, right? And it becomes like a design element or something like that. And it's great and it's grand. And sometimes your mistakes is just a lesson that you have to learn how to work around and how to go back and undo it and fix it. As a quilter, you're meant to explore. You're meant to challenge things, and you are always going to have that pull and that side of your brain that goes, well, you know, what if, I know the instructions are right here, but what if I did it a different way? would it turn out the same? You're always going to have that pull. So my advice is to go ahead, be messy, embrace those mistakes, make them, learn from them, and then do better next time. Tip number 5 is to join a quilting community. Don't quilt alone. Quilting with others can provide a not only friendship, connection, support, somebody that you can reach out and ask questions to. It really enriches your lives to have somebody else who is connecting with you. Okay, I know there's a lot of creators on here on YouTube. It's really easy to feel like you actually have a connection with the creators on YouTube, and I gotta tell you, I absolutely love you too. There are so many communities that are online and offline where you can actually connect with other quilters, and the value that you get out of holding up a really frustrating quilt project and going, what am I doing wrong? And actually getting real feedback on is so helpful. Okay, it's so helpful. The friendships that you strike up with people who get what you do and why you do it is incredible. So if you don't have the opportunity to travel somewhere in your area, or you just live somewhere where there's not many quilters around, I invite you to join me in the Stitch Sister Inner Circle. It's a group that I have online where quilters come together and we just chat, and we have made friends all over the world, and it's just this beautiful little community. So I will leave links in the description box down below so you can check that out. Number 4 is to take classes and watch tutorials. When you're first starting out, you're not going to realize exactly how many things you don't know until you do realize how many things you don't know. And the deeper and deeper that I get into the quilting world, I'm still realizing there's things that I don't know. And that's okay, right? That's okay. Watch tutorials. Stay curious. Always know that this craft is never going to have a point where you are done learning. You're always going to want to create. You're always going to want to learn. And if you are staying curious, you will never, ever, ever be bored. How amazing is that? Continuing to learn keeps you inspired. There are so many options available to you. Check out your local quilt shop. Ask if they have any suggestions on classes. Ask if they host classes, if they teach classes, okay? Go on YouTube and learn something. Join a group online who is working on like a big sew along together. You can learn a lot through those as well. Also, do not be afraid to attend a quilt retreat if you are a new quilter, okay? Be brave. Jump in and do it. You will never regret it. It's amazing. And it seems scary, but I guarantee that you will not be the only new quilter there. You will not be intimidated by the most experienced quilters, because what I have learned is quilters are amazing people. We are a very rare breed of people, okay? A little weird, a little crazy, and so much fun. We are so full of kindness in our hearts and willing to share whatever knowledge that we have. So if you are a new quilter and you're worried about being completely left in the dust, go to those quilt retreats, have those experiences. You won't regret it. Number 3 is to stay organized. This is hard, okay? I still struggle with it all the time, and I try my best at it. I probably should have put this one higher on the list when it comes to important things for new-ish quilters, because you want to be able to access the tools and the things that you have spent your good hard-earned money on, okay? You don't want things to get lost in the cupboards and bags and sacks that you have laying around. You want to be able to use them. So I have a bunch of videos on organization. I will make a section in the description box down below so that you can kind of go through those and watch which ones will apply most to you. I also have a playlist on getting organized. If you just want to put that on when you're sewing one day, that is a really, really helpful thing that can just kind of like trickle into your mind and sit there and stew for a little bit. Number 2, label your quilts, okay? Any relevant information, okay? You want to put your name on them, sign them like a piece of artwork. You're an artist, claim it. You can add a date when you made the quilt. You can add who it's for. You can add a special message, okay? I've kind of talked about this a lot in my videos, and I'm quite passionate about it because there's a lot of history that we have lost on artwork and books and things that do not have a name registered to them. They're not labeled, okay? We don't know who made that. We don't know the story behind the quilt. We don't know who the quilt was for. And it's really interesting to me, at least, to know that information. What made that quilt personal, like why you chose the colors that you did or something like that. You can add specific quotes and things. I have seen people write messages in the binding to where it's subtle on the back of the binding and just write messages all along the binding, all the way around the perimeter of the quilt. And it is such a special treasure to have, right? Something that is so personal, so unique in the world, and there is not another one like that out there. It's a really neat thing to have. Also, you might want to keep a log of your quilts that you have made. Grab your cell phone, make a folder on there, take photos of your quilts and put them in that folder. It's just nice to look through because sometimes you need a little pick-me-up when a quilt is giving you a hard time and you think, I'm ready to quit. And you just look through them and you'll be like, okay, never mind. I'm amazing. I just need to take a breather. And that brings us to our very last tip. Number 1, enjoy the process. It's true, okay? You didn't get into this hobby, this craft, to add something else that brings stress to your life, even though it might feel like that sometimes, okay? Enjoy the process. Where you are today is not going to be creatively where you are 6 months from now. Where you are today is not at all creatively where you were a year from now. You're learning things. You're constantly improving. You're constantly trying new things. You're seeing things that is changing your perspective on quilting. It's just going to get better and better. So remember this when you're sitting on the couch in the evenings and you have a seam ripper in your hand and you are undoing whatever in the world it was that you seriously messed up on and you're frustrated. Remember this. Life is too short for that much frustration in your life. Quilting is a task and a privilege to bring joy to your life. Let it. Let it bring that joy to your life. Let it be your outlet for creativity and let it make you happy. Create all of the beautiful things that you want. Remember to invite that joy in. I hope that you found these tips helpful today. These are some of the things that I wish I had been told when I first started quilting. You know, it's things that it's really, really important to remember when you're not having the best quilting day. All of the videos that I talked about are going to be linked in the description box down below this video. So make sure that you check those out. If you have any tips or something that you think I should have included in this video, some advice that you would pass on to another quilter, go ahead and put it in the comment section down below. I love to hear from you, and if you think I missed something, do me a favor and share it with me. Please take one more second of your time to like this video and then hit the subscribe button. After you hit that subscribe button, go ahead and click the little bell button afterwards for more quilty goodness coming your way. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Kristen with ICStarsQuilting.com. I'll see you next week. Bye.